All right, bring the meeting to order. We'll start with the road fund report.
Agent of the road one. Rodney's got gout or something, his legs all swelled up.
Ah.
So he's didn't wanna climb the stairs tonight. He's gonna get a price from little Larry Pickett for a week's worth of mowing with his, excavator mower thing.
Oh, we know ahead of
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do some roadsides that getting bad.
the tree branches. are coming
Yes.
down. Yeah,
Yes. He's gonna get a price on that, so we
Yeah.
can include it in the budget.
Can you do that in winter? Are they good? Or are they?
Well, I don't know, never thought of that. I don't know
Yeah.
why you couldn't.
No, the snowbanks were keeping, I know.
Yeah,
branches might be more brittle, they might
Yeah,
clean off that
right,
way.
there's 5 trees up on Falls Hill, by the guardrails there.
Mhm.
That, he wants to cut out of there. And he's gonna call that Isaac kid, Isaac
Yeah.
Saka. And get a price on him, price for that too.
Are they in danger of dead or falling or something?
Yeah, and he doesn't want them falling on the guardrails, plus he thinks it's putting a lot of stress on the bank, you know.
Mhm.
And they're starting, some of the branches are starting to hang down and hit the truck, so. The guardrail crew said that they were gonna be up on Stratford Road next week. They put those guardrails in,
On the new culvert?
Yeah.
Nice.
and they are gonna use some used guardrails. And Robbie said that was all right as long as there was nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And they said there wasn't, they were just used. But it's gonna save 2,500, 3,000 bucks.
And they passed the state spec.
Yes, yes. There's probably some that took down somewhere and replaced them or something. Dealing with the muds and ruts for weekly storms. They may have to put some stuff in over by Mickey Whalen's because it gets so rutted up. The grader is down. They had a recall on it. There's a bearing equipment or something on one of the rear ends. It's a 40-hour job.
Really?
To pull the rear end out, fix it, put it back in. But it's under warranty. And. Of course, Rodney thought it was a nice time to get rid of it when you ain't using it.
Yeah.
Now the road's all rutted up, he wishes he had it, but
Anyway. For trailering too.
yeah, they paid everything. Yeah. And Matt's gonna put tomorrow. Rodney said Matt's gonna put, Jersey barrier down over the guardrails on Stratford Road.
I wondered what.
And then put some stuff above them, you know, so it'll retain that bank.
Yeah.
Or if somebody goes flying down over there, it will snub them up
Where is that?
on the Stratford Road.
And wash it.
Where we
Oh,
widened the road,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
and that's it.
Did we get the radiator changed in the truck with the
Yes.
change the radiator?
Yes.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
That means house too.
Thomas Brayley was in on that with Matt.
Mhm.
And he said. I guess everything worked, so.
What about sand, like, did the line cover that?
Oh, no, I forgot to ask him, but I know, Thomas Brayley hauled it a couple days and everybody else was hauling, so I'm assuming they got it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they hauled all day Thursday, and then
Yeah.
and after they applied,
Yeah.
I assume they were done.
Yeah.
It's pretty good pile.
Yeah.
Fine to see.
That is my mother's ringtone.
Oh.
Sorry for that.
Yeah, Larry struck just the tip. And I guess the way those bodies, those bison bodies were, is that a bison?
Could be, if we get out of an Everest. I don't think it's an Everest.
Anyways, it's different than the other bodies
Income.
and all our other bodies. You can't put it.
Yeah.
Anyways, this, I don't know, doesn't flop up as much, something's different, so sand bridges over. You know, when they sand it. And so they might be putting a vibrator on the bottom of that or something. And Larry said Rick Ackerman got the same body, had the same problem. There you go.
Brady cookies. Oh, she did.
Yeah.
Oh, bad.
Right.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
fancy package.
Trying to-
I heard you say, oh shit, is that what you said? Is that?
Oh, he's talking to Gary.
Oh, yeah, anybody have any questions for the road report?
I don't have any answer.
Just a quick, the early guardrail report, did you say that was Upper Falls, what road was that? That they were gonna do guardrails?
On Stratford Road.
Oh, and the
Where the
trees
new,
were,
The
where the
trees
new
were on
guardrail,
oh, okay,
new culvert is.
the trees
So
on
Brenda
the
won't
Falls Hill.
fall off the
Yes.
road.
Okay, just the Isaac Stacker potential thing is up on Falls Hill.
Yes,
Gotcha,
yes.
okay, that's,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, Brenda.
Yes, I wanted to make it down here in time for that. Did you all get the funding announcement from? For scoping, developing flood reduction projects? I think I forwarded it to all
I
of you.
think so. It was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, just to remind you, it's for municipalities following the July flooding on the hazard mitigation grant. And the scoping can be for specific projects or problems like dam removal
Right.
and upsizing a bridge, blah, blah, blah. They get into a lot of other stuff, but including scoping applications, generally including hiring an engineer to complete assessment of the river and development of potential alternatives. So I just wanted to make sure Rod or whoever had this.
And then Mary Ann.
Yeah, and I don't think she's gonna initiate
Right.
looking into it. It'd be up for you people to the bottom of the Stratford Road. This could be worth,
Yeah.
and it's a fair amount of money,
Mhm.
like hundreds of thousands.
Like scoping, any matching, like the sidewalk.
I'm sure it has some almost all of them have some kind of matching to it.
But I wonder if it would backtrack, and because we already have hired an engineer for that project. Who's saying if it would, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For this,
For the Stratford.
oh,
Road.
right,
Right,
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm thinking with the Stratford Road.
yeah.
Especially dam removal,
Yeah.
that low hit dam.
Pass it on to our AA.
This is new, by the way, dam removal is sort of a new thing they're putting out there. Normally it's like, you know, sort of stuff.
We got the bid from Randy to fix the bridge. What bridge is this?
School bus.
Larkin Bridge, yeah, $8,500. But, I sent it to the Boston Insurance Company and they already sent us a check,
Really?
so pending your approval, we can.
Yeah.
fix it.
Or you can buy more turkeys.
Or got a lot more than you do.
What's the pins up?
You don't like them?
Does it need?
No, let me see it. You have to take the tip off. It's brand new. I gave a brand new pen. Let me see.
You mechanic.
Next time, make sure you like it.
Activates.
There's this little ball
Or someone knew that.
to keep it from,
Right.
yeah.
Do we have to put it back on at the end? of the
No,
line?
no, it's activated, it's good.
Yeah,
Right here.
all right,
So this might take some energy.
Right, right.
So do you approve the
Yeah.
Larkin Bridge? Okay, should we make a motion?
someone should,
I second.
all right,
You
all in
eat
favor
yours
of John
first.
move,
Yes.
that was it.
You want, right?
It's like a round twist.
All right, John made a motion, Mike seconded, to hire Randy Hoyt and Associates to fix the Larkin Bridge, all in favor? Aye.
Perfect,
All
got
right.
it.
So can Randy do that work this winter?
I think he was gonna do it like tomorrow. Yeah.
He doesn't get bored.
Yeah, I talked to Rodney already. I said, pending anything crazy, he can start tomorrow. And he said, okay, because he wanted him to do it before he went down south.
Is that ever still open?
I don't know what to do, we're way ahead of schedule. Yeah,
Everybody's here.
Mike Barnaby's next.
I didn't do it.
You did too, that's why you're here.
That's why I'm here, yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
You wanna set up here and just talk from where you are?
I'm good, I can stand. Well, thank everybody anyway for my years down here, at transfer station. Wednesdays, Saturday, I'll even take Rod for the spot. Just with situation I go now, and expect that, I expected to work for myself forever.
Yeah.
And that worked, working the transfer station, I just, everything John Goose to do. This chapter in my life, I wouldn't change for anything, just doesn't work out with kids and schedules. Like I said, I'll stay on Wednesdays after the beginning of the year, but can't do Saturdays.
Okay, and will you give us fair warning, so,
Like I said, I don't really looking around for this, but
yep, so that's now the beginning.
yeah,
Yeah.
now and again, you'll be getting up there. And we brought it here. This year, so. That's- I'm sorry.
It's okay,
I thought might be some of the increase in tax.
yeah. I think I have to, yeah. So you're on until January,
Yeah.
that's to December.
Yeah, I'll be here one Saturday to December.
Yeah.
As I'm going to after that, I'll stay on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Back to the weekend, let's say that started winters because we had to to there. If we had Wednesdays through the spring to be fun, so
Yeah,
it's just, it's too much. of a schedule.
that sure is. Andy said he might be interested in going in some,
Oh, this winter.
Yeah.
Okay.
and he couldn't do Wednesdays, but he couldn't do Saturdays, so maybe it'll work out.
That's what, yeah,
You can train Andy.
yep, that's fine. I mean, he can train me. And that's my end. And I think you had a good idea of this. Switching out maybe Saturdays with people.
Yeah.
I think we might have to do a schedule thing, but that would be. That might be, it's taking me some time to figure out calling the containers weeks ahead of time, especially during the holidays.
That's gonna be the hard part.
Yeah. Break that
Yeah,
and I've sat with Excel before, so I know how to change out the users, I know which ones to change, and
yeah.
a little bit of bite you get when you change them, it's,
Great shot.
Maybe it's early.
let you know you're on. Again, thank you, everybody.
Oh, you're welcome, thank you.
Well, thank you.
I'm gonna sit in
How many years you been doing it?
554 million.
Yeah.
4 years ago.
That's it?
I think so, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, because I started when Dad died in
Right.
2019,
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I said, it was convenient then,
Yeah,
kids were there, I was up there, could work for myself, so.
Yeah.
schedule doesn't allow anymore.
Yeah.
I'm getting too old to work 7 days a week.
You're not too old.
Tell that to my white
You're just-
beard.
That's why I don't have a beard.
That's the trick. No, nobody will get it back. Oh, pass it. I'll get it back.
All right, well, Mike's giving us his last notice. Yeah.
That's good, there'll be some continuity. And as far as training goes, too.
Yeah.
And probably, what, do they, half the time, the Wednesday person is the one who calls in.
So it was usually my Saturdays I had Rod filling, and Wednesdays I'm usually there.
No, but as far as calling Estella.
Oh.
Depends on,
That's, yeah. And like I said, it's with the holidays and sometimes I was figured out to call a week ahead of time, holidays, week and a half. And it all depends with them, because they've missed a few times, told me to be there Tuesday, they don't show up till Thursday.
hold your breath.
Yeah, you know, it's not their fault, it's the same thing, when I talk to them after, oh, we're sorry, we truck issues and lack of employees, and so it's, you know, nobody's control over none of it.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, sure.
I'll keep in touch.
Yeah, I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, if I can, if Andy really wants to do it, I'll definitely get hold of you, so you can make sure you show
Yeah.
Andy
Yeah.
how to change a few.
Like I said, I'll be there.
Prepare for the shock.
Yeah.
No, so I don't mind doing the Wednesdays, so whenever I can handle that.
Yep.
Saturdays, oldest daughter's in basketball now, she had a game tonight. Possibly broke fingers.
Oh.
Can't hear from her.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was different when they lived in, they had them all the time, I don't see them, but.
Yeah.
It's all bigger than I am now, I don't know what time when.
Okay, well, thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Hello. My time, right, looking for the finish. Go ahead. We're going down to get dinner, Tom's all right.
Is Rachel present?
I don't see her.
Is that phone?
Oh, no, somebody. I don't know who it is, 1617.
Rachel, no, trails should be set off.
Rachel 6:45.
Yeah. Oh, what do you wanna do? Skip ahead to trails?
Sure.
Maybe have to make Rachel wait a few minutes. All right, Jonathan, I guess we're gonna change the schedule. And you're up.
You want me to?
Yeah, get it on my chair, slide it over here. It's PowerPoint or just hand it.
Oh, PowerPoint's an option? Sorry, you want me to jump right in?
Right in.
All right. Okay. So last week, last Thursday, we had a trail session, hadn't had one for a while. And it's good to see everybody, honestly. Brenda, I had to introduce myself to Brenda.
He's been missing in action.
Yeah. So yeah, we've committed to feedback session. Public feedback session related to reclassifying legal trails as possible roads. It was well attended last week. About 25 people. Yeah. And week after Thanksgiving, right? So good response. Felt like we had a decent cross section of folks on the topic. And I sent Rudy had put together the minutes, feel like it was one of those events where. Got emails, got people who brought paper that was signed, even got some mail in the post. And so, good feedback, and I've included that in addition to the minutes. This was, I think I sent to you, or I sent it to you, so I don't know if you had a chance to read it, but it's really in summary, at a high level, if I look at, between those who oppose and those who support, so far, only the landowners on the legal trails, the only feedback that I've gotten so far, or we've gotten so far, has been opposed, right? No one has come out and said they're in support. They may be in support, but we haven't received that. And it, for varying reasons, but all perceive it as a negative impact. There is concern over the cost of the reclassification. Just the cost to upgrade, to maintain, the impact of motorized vehicles, and then further litigation potential. And then overall, we've been in this for a while, but they feel like exacerbates the ongoing conflict rather than bringing a resolution through mediation or collaboration. So for those who support in the summarize, they really open any path that protects the public right of way. And they see that as very important for today's recreational interests and future access. They also feel like it's a way to clarify the ambiguity related to maintenance. So it's worth that reclassification process for that to take place. And they're also okay with class 4 being in various levels of maintenance. And there was no spoken interest of wanting to use motorized vehicles if it's reclassified. So the few things that came up that I think need some clarification or that wasn't resolved in the group or by the Trails Committee. One was, is the interest in reclassifying all legal trails or just certain legal trails? I don't know, maybe it was clear, but as a group, we weren't able to make that clear. And there's a comment about eminent domain, and I think it's worth exploring. Is it relevant here? Some claim it was, some claim it was not. So yeah, that's a quick summary.
All right,
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Any comments? Yes, Sue.
Hi, I'm gonna read mine because otherwise I'll forget some of my thoughts. So as a member of the Trails Committee, I was in attendance at the listening session on legal trails to class 4 roads. And we heard from many of the same individuals that had been involved in these discussions as well as a few others. So these are my personal thoughts that since I was part of the Trails Committee, just listening, I didn't put in, but so some of my personal thoughts on what was presented. I would like to speak on what I see as misplaced priorities. More than $30,000 has already been spent on the bicycle agenda, and now we are to look at spending taxpayer money on establishing class 4 roads on the legal trails. I live on a class 3 road that ends on 2 class 4 roads that are not passable with any ordinary vehicle in summer months. There is one way in and one way out for a number of Tunbridge residents. A decade ago, one of the dairy farms on our hill expanded their business, which meant multiple large trucks traveling daily on this hill. We have had 3 accidents of large grain trucks and milk trucks off the road, closing our access in and out, the worst lasting 3 days. The most recent accident was yesterday. The road closures could mean only a minor inconvenience for residents, or more importantly, safety concerns. I do not expect Tunbridge to upgrade the class 4 roads that affect me, But I do expect more reasonable priority decisions on money spent on this issue. There was a discussion about whether establishing class 4 roads on the trails would be reclassification or laying out of a highway. So, which is it? The select board, I think, needs to figure this out beforehand if this is gonna be an option going ahead. Also disagreement about laying out class 4 roads requiring eminent domain, as Jonathan just said. If it does require eminent domain, how much more taxpayer money will be needed for the lengthy process? And then in conclusion. If the legal trails that would become class 4 roads would open them up to motorized vehicles, and I think there should be some of the town's public rights of way where motorized vehicles are not allowed. There has been some talk of targeting only one or a few landowners with class 4 roads. Doing that would be mean-spirited, vindictive, and discriminatory. I still think there's room for a compromise solution. I believe some of the individuals looking at alternative trails were never going to accept any offer, and I would like to get an unbiased trail expert to look at future trail alternatives. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sue. Anyone else?
Yeah, one comment, it was clear to me from the meeting that converting to class 4 roads was not a popular solution to the problem. Where the problem is dispute over blocking access to the legal trail for certain groups of people. I at least did not see that as being sympathetic to what's going on, keeping people from using that legal trail. So I just don't want to confuse people objecting to class 4 roads with people thinking it's fine to have somebody interfering with the use of the public right of way on the legal trails. So it's sort of the wrong solution for the right reasons.
Yeah. Okay.
Clarification, well, not clarification. So who took the minutes? Because I was not in attendance, but those were some pretty impressive minutes.
Oh, Rudy.
Really? Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like a 2-hour meeting. There was so much detail.
Yeah, we ended early,
And
surprisingly.
yeah, right, well, we're running a tight ship. And yeah, a lot of comments. So I guess a couple of things. I agree with Peter's remarks as far as it's kind of like leapfrogging to something that apparently was certainly not all that popular at that meeting, reclassifying class 4 roads. The legal trails thing is what started this long road, which is now up to almost 3.5 years. And my emphasis, and I think a lot of other people, has been about protecting the right of way of the existing legal trails. Not creating or laying out another highway or laying out another trail and turning it into a legal trail, but keeping the ones that are there. As far as the usage to non-motorized, which at one time, a little bit more than 3.5 years, was clearly the use for many, many decades of non-motorized use, and it hasn't been a problem. So I'll just end with a query that maybe you've already put, and I did write something this morning that might get shared with you all later, about just clearing up the eminent domain issue. My reading of that in dealing with if there was a move to reclassify, is I don't think eminent domain would play a role and that there would be additional expenses, as there really should not be additional expenses in maintaining the legal trail, which of course we know the maintenance issue is in front of the Supreme Court right now. So it's been said time and time again, there are plenty of volunteers that want to make those legal trails usable for non-motorized uses or whatever uses the select board decides and the trails committee or the stewards of the trails committee decide are appropriate. And I think that we're probably circling around back to that. We know the clock is ticking on a Supreme Court decision. I don't know if this was to go in front of the town as far as reclassification of the select board, but those are my views, and probably some people are planning to check in at 7, so hopefully they'll check in a little bit early.
Do you think there's someone that's gonna do it by Zoom?
Well, it's listed as 7,
Right,
yeah, so I don't know.
yeah,
I mean,
we'll find out.
I think based on the attendance at Jonathan's meeting, I would think some people are probably pretty interested, but I can see how you had to kind of put it forward.
Well, I didn't do that. Mess anything up.
No,
I've learned to come early.
Yeah.
They come on the agenda. Especially early. the first one.
Yeah. Did you get some correspondence, Mariah, from our attorney about the,
I did, I think I copied the email, but I can just read it too.
Sure.
So I just had emailed him and asked him, if we were on track with what was going on regarding our litigation. And he responded and said, yes, we're on track. Our brief is now due on December 29th. An issue arose with the parties trying to get the Supreme Court of Vermont, when I got that, to accept the record from the first case. Attorney Vitt and us agreed that it should be included, and Attorney Vitt filed a motion with the trial court to send over the materials from the first case. The court granted that, but apparently when the court moved to electronic filings, the Superior Court does not create the appellate volume, the record from the lower court case anymore, so now the Supreme Court clerks do that. So they were refiled with the Supreme Court of Vermont, but the Supreme Court of Vermont denied the request, saying that we have to ask it to take judicial notice of the other case materials. It doesn't impact our case other than we require a retool, that they retool the draft to refer to the things from the other case in a different way and ask the SCOV to take judicial notice rather than refer to the appellate volume. Long story short, they will file on or before December 29th. Then Attorney Vitt has a reply brief. Then we have a reply brief. Then it is ready for argument, which should be set for sometime between February and April. I would guess at this point. We'll see though. Somebody from the Valley News reached out to him and he told her a shorter version of this. I didn't get into the record issue, but let her know the posture and sent her the docketing statements and Attorney Vitt's brief. She may contact me next week if she has questions. And he was available if you wanted to chat more, but then he sent over the information, which is here. This is all the stuff he sent to the Valley News regarding. And that is why, if you understood what I just read, then you, yeah.
maybe next time we can do it in English.
Yeah, I know. SCOV.
Why, didn't get the chart?
Yeah.
So I have a question related to that. So is the town arguing that the case is not right? Or is the town trying to push this to get it decided?
We'd like to have it decided.
Okay,
I think they're pushing, I mean, they're arguing it's not right now.
Well, I
At
don't
the
know.
state court level, I think that's what I understand.
it is, okay. I guess I don't understand.
The
I
court
don't
said,
understand that.
the court said it's not right, correct?
Right.
I mean, we didn't say it, and John doesn't say that, but the court says that.
You said it.
I didn't say.
Well, you're a lawyer. That's what we said, the court agreed
Oh, okay.
twice, and now it's going to this.
It seems that just keeps kicking the issue down the road.
It does.
And each time we pay more for legal fees rather than just get the question answered.
Mhm.
And then, you know, we all deal with it.
Yeah, the possible outcome of Supreme Court decision is, well, we agree that it's not right, we're sending it back to the Superior Court. Cycle back again. So query, just, I like living in worlds of hypotheticals. That, I wonder if the case would change at all if before it's heard by the Supreme Court, there was maintenance, some sort of maintenance, very minor maintenance, symbolic maintenance. Whether, and that may be a question to pose to our attorneys. Maybe that doesn't change what's in front of the Supreme Court at all, or maybe it does, but just wondering.
Good question. Do you have something you want to say?
Well, I just want to share the frustration on how complicated this has gotten. I mean, it's very simple. legal issue and your attorney has dragged it out and made it complicated, made it impossible to get to the merits. And I'm as frustrated, if not more than Peter with that. I just want to say a couple of things and I don't want to, I'm not gonna go on length. I assume you got this letter from the attorney Fritz Langrock.
Me,
You,
did I get it?
did you not? You did not get it?
What is it?
I'm sorry, let's,
You emailed it. yes.
you have it, John? Oh, I think I sent, you may have sent it.
Not on 271. Vermont Route 110 is not my address.
Oh,
So
I-
maybe that person
This
got it.
person should have emailed it to you.
Dan Ackerman.
I don't know what it is. Well, here, take it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry about that. There was a miscommunication with Fritz Langrock, who will be representing us in the condemnation matter. Anyway, this is a letter that explains why this in fact is the letting out of a highway and would involve eminent domain. But you know, maybe we don't have to fight about that, but anyway, we have a different view on that. The only thing I wanted to mention, there's this question about whether it's eminent domain, but the other issue is necessity. The Constitution says that in order to, and the statutes say that in order to lay out a road, the town has to establish a necessity for the road, the highway. I would describe the case here as a want, not a need. And I don't think that you would succeed in establishing a necessity for a parallel highway here. So we'd have a great big fight about that. So in addition to all the sort of other reasons that Jonathan recited, that people articulated for why it was not a good idea to go this way, we would obviously oppose it on necessity grounds, and we think you would not be ultimately permitted to go forward with a class 4 road. And if you were, you'd have to pay a whole lot of compensation. So in addition to all the legal fees, you'd have to pay us for taking our property rights and all the other affected landowners. So,
Who are the other landowners?
well, it depends whose land you get to take. I don't know. I mean, this is one of the outstanding questions.
Oh, I guess I was thinking about you in particular.
We'll represent ourselves, but you know, I don't know who else you're going after.
We're not going after anybody, so.
So the only other thing I wanted to say is I very much respect the desire to maintain the right of way. I have never said I wanted to see the right of way thrown up. I want to preserve the right of way. I want to move the bicycle traffic. Trails move all the time. And there's nothing complicated about it. The Appalachian Trail, half its length has been moved over the course of its history. And we can solve this problem by preserving a public right of way and moving it. And so, you know, that's the solution I'm offering. I'm not trying to defeat people's desire to have a right of way. I'm trying to come up with a solution that we can all live with. If the folks who are seeking to use it for bicycling just insist on using that right of way, then we're just gonna keep litigating this. We'll either lose or you'll lose, and we'll go on forever. Because I'm not, you know, I think it's such an obvious solution that we should pursue it. But anyway, I just want to reaffirm that my support for providing a public right of way, but that's going to require people just getting together and talking about a way of rerouting the bicycle trains.
But I'm a little confused. First of all, I'm not in support of making a different trail that we've walked from several people on the SAC. And Jonathan, I don't know if you were on that walk of the proposed alternative trail.
The first one,
The one that went around and down below.
Yeah.
Rudy was on that.
horse shop. I've been on that in 2 seasons.
Yeah, okay.
Around this time of year, and then
Of course, that wasn't discussed at your meeting as far as the viability of that workaround, but it's pretty clear with the streams and the culverts and everything. Very expensive, if there was a consensus to actually change the trail, and it sounds like, I'm a little bit confused, John, changing the trail so that it satisfies bicyclists, and it seems like that's the totem word that keeps coming up, rather than just maintaining the existing public right of way. Whether that would then become the public right of way and Orchard Road would revert to the abutters. Is that what you're foreseeing, if this all worked out in your world?
I don't. We can get really deep in the weeds of the legalities, and I think there's a whole legitimate debate about, you know, what alternative trails work physically. From an environmental standpoint, from a biking standpoint. I think the basic issue is, does it make sense in concept to move the trail? If the move trail, maybe not perfectly, maybe not a perfect equivalent of what you think you have now, but adequately meets your needs and meets our needs, is a compromise like that a desirable outcome? And if, you know, I think we stumble on that threshold question. And I think some people say it's gotta be the existing trail. Whether it's Cross Road or Orchard Road. And if it's gotta be the existing trail, then we're just on an endless collision course, and we'll just see who wins after we've spent all this money. But if we agree that you know, the idea of moving is potentially positive in concept, then there are all sorts of creative ways to collectively think about how to do that. And I, but it's a question of whether there's a will to sit down in some confidential, informal setting to toss around ideas about, can we come up with something that works for us?
All right,
But I want peace, and you want good trail and certainty. And I think that's what we all, you know, understand that. And so the question is, how do we get to that?
Yeah, I want the public right of way to remain where it is.
all right, Peter,
So, just for my own education, I started digging into it to try to understand these alternative trails, because I keep hearing about them, I keep hearing, let's create them. But a bunch of them have already been looked into. So as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, as I understand it, there were 3 different alternative trails considered. So a lot of effort has gone into this already. One of them, I believe you rejected, John, because it was still too close to the homestead. There's another, this is on the east side of the property. There's another one on the east side of the property that was considered, but it was deemed unrideable by anybody other than an expert bicyclist. So as a bike trail, it was unsuitable. And then
On the eastern side?
yes. I've got mapped trails of 2 that were explored apparently. That comment came directly from George White. He's not here, but he can confirm it. The third trail is on the west side of the property. It goes down and runs right along the border of the property. That's the one that I think you keep promoting. But my understanding is that was rejected for a number of different reasons. It crosses, there are 6 different stream crossings, none of which, or all of which have to be built. There's no structure for any of them. It goes over soil that, when you look at the, Rudy did this analysis of state stuff about appropriate or suitable uses given the soil conditions. And it was 100% of the trail through the Dodge property was unsuitable. Well, you can look at the report and read the maps, was unsuitable for even for a footpath. Where in contrast, the existing route is completely suitable for that use. Also that lower route is, rather than I think it's somewhere between 500 and 1,000 feet of the legal trail that is where I believe you object to bicycles. That route looks to be about a mile long. So for one group of people, because you don't want them there, even though you agree they have a legal right to be there if the selectmen say bicycles are allowed, have to take a mile detour. They're gonna have to maintain that trail in perpetuity, and it dumps out on the O'Brien property, and now John has to have a trail going through his property as half of it. So I don't see how that's a fair deal. Plus, I just want to point out that a lot of effort has gone into trying to find an alternative trail here. The thing I don't understand is when you look at compromise means nobody gets what they want, but everybody gets something. Okay. rerouting the trail is you getting everything you want and other people not. What I don't understand is why we can't simply, I mean, you guys have the power to say what you're allowed to do on these trails, why we simply can't say, when you reach the homestead site, bicyclists need to dismount and walk until they get past the homestead site. It's about 1,000 feet. If they're walking, they're a pedestrian, not a bicyclist. They could be carrying a bike on their back, they could have a backpack, they could be carrying their pogo stick with them. They're a pedestrian at that point. Why is that not a compromise? It's no different from a pedestrian walking through. They're not riding their bikes, so you don't have that problem. It's even requesting that they not ride bikes on a class 3 road where, you know, it's not clear anybody even has the power to do that. But I suspect.
I disagree with a lot of the things you say, okay?
I'm sure.
And you haven't talked to me in detail about this, and your facts are wrong. You're late to this conversation, okay? And I really welcome your input, and I appreciate it. And you know, there are a lot of things, I don't want to, I mean, I don't want to trail there. I've offered to pay for all the work that's needed to get this done. I mean, there's stuff I'm offering to do. There's a lot of work that would need to be done on the existing right of way, paid for by somebody. I'm saying, let's move the trail. I'll pay for all the work that's needed on the new right of way. I'm not happy about that. My wife's not happy about that. I mean, we don't want bicycles on any portion of the Dodge Farm. That's been our policy. We would now be opening it up to bicycles. So I don't think it's fair to say that we're not giving anything. I thought George walked that trail and with John and said, this will work for bicyclists. The last time we did it. Now, maybe he's changed his mind, I don't know, but it just doesn't help to have these public sessions and lobbing out information. If we take George's position, which is you want the public right of way and that's it. Well, then we can stop having these conversations. We can litigate for the next 2 or 3 years and maybe have a fight in the State House and see how it comes out.
I was trying to get other types of compromises on the table as opposed to.
Okay, well, I mean, we can, I think those are not a good idea, and we can have I mean, we've had a preliminary conversation about why I just don't think they make sense. And they're not the optimal way to go.
Well, Peter,
So
I'm gonna interrupt you because I want to.
well, I just love I would encourage you to say, you know, I think it would be great if you guys took this conversation and continued it.
Go ahead. Anyway, Peter, you're pretty much on the mark. I think you gathered some good information and you've thought about it, and I think you've got a lot of the facts straight, and maybe all of the facts straight. And as far as I'm concerned, I said it once a few meetings ago, and I'll say it again, the town of Tunbridge has a right of way across the portion of your land. And it's a 3-rod right of way, and we, the select board, can tell anybody that they can be there or not be there, and whatever mode they want to be on. And because we have all of those things, we also have the right to maintain it or not maintain it. And you disagree with us, and you're the guy that started the lawsuit, and you're the guy that can end it. And we could simply just tell Todd to take his bike tomorrow and ride on it. And
I think I'm gonna win the lawsuit, so.
well, you might think you're gonna win the lottery too.
No, I guess we both think we're gonna win, and that's why maybe it's the best thing to do. I mean, it's just the best we can do under the circumstances. If we can't have a productive conversation, is just play out the Milton's lawsuit and see how it comes out.
Yeah, I also just want to point out that I don't use those trails. I don't own the land. I'm not a regular bike rider. I don't ride them. So how this lands, quite frankly, makes no difference whatsoever to me personally. I just share the sentiment that we're all really getting tired of this. And that the focus needs to be on driving it to conclusion somehow or other.
Well, I'll just say it again, that your lawyer has done everything in their power to prevent a resolution of this issue on the merits.
You haven't said that before. many
So,
times.
so, I mean, when people complain about my litigation, and how long it's taken, it's because the town's litigation tactics have prolonged it forever and ever. I suspect they're taking that course because they think they've got a losing hand, but that's just me.
If you were to advise us on what to tell our lawyer to do to speed this up, what would you do?
Well, I would have told him, no, don't seek a 30-day extension. He just got a 30-day extension to file his brief. I don't know what he, he knew he had to file a brief. I don't know what his other priorities were, but
Other
he's.
than that one,
Well, he could say, I've thought about long and hard about this case, and I think that my opponents are right. I think it is ripe. And I think we ought to just, and so I'm going to suggest to
I thought
Mr. Vitt that we file a stipulation to dismiss the appeal upon agreement that there is a ripe controversy and send it back down to the trial court so we can get to the merits.
I thought the court made a decision that it wasn't right. I mean, it wasn't
Right, but the things have happened since then. And I mean, maybe the Supreme Court would have to accept it, but it'd be worth trying to say, in view of subsequent developments that have occurred since the trial court ruled, it is even more, the plaintiffs have a stronger case for ripeness. We think it's right. So let's just forget this whole battle about ripeness and send it back down to trial court and then get the merits resolved. I know please ask your lawyer whether that would work.
Maybe you can convince your lawyer that if it is.
No, we're good to go. I can promise you.
No, if you're so right, then you can obviously convince the court that it is right.
Well, I know, but I've got to go through this whole, we did not convince the trial judge. And so we now have to go through this whole appeal process, but I'm just,
Yeah,
it's probably a far-fetched idea, but if you hadn't raised the ripeness defense, then we'd be done.
If you hadn't raised the maintenance thing, we'd be done.
Well, I'm sorry, it's my First Amendment right to petition government with my grievances, and I have a legal grievance, so.
John, did you ever consider farming a town that has been maintaining their legal trails? Because you could have sued them and that would have been right. So you would have gotten to the bottom of this. The whole thing was, we have legal trails, we don't maintain them. You sued us saying you don't have a right to maintain your trails. We said we don't maintain them anyway, so what are you suing us about? So you could have found a municipality that actually was maintaining their legal trails and it would have been right.
I would not have had legal standing in that other community where I didn't own property.
It's because you own the property.
I mean, you can't go into court and say, I've got an abstract issue I want to see resolved. The town has asserted the authority to maintain the trails on our property in the great town of Tunbridge, giving me and my wife legal standing to object to your position.
So a chainsaw would ripen it, wouldn't it?
Chainsaw could ripen it. I mean, the complexities that would be raised, I mean, I agree with you, a symbolic ripening, but the cases of the Supreme Court, it's just gotten so complicated.
Should I just simple question, as far as, let's say the Supreme Court says, yep, right, and we rule in favor of the town of Tunbridge that they have the right to maintain. Let's stay with that. Do you have any legal recourse after losing that case on those merits at the Supreme Court? Yeah, just yes or no? Can you appeal that after a Supreme Court made a decision?
You're
like that?
channeling this to Fanning. No, I think the answer is no.
Okay, thank you.
The argument, the case I have then is just a political case, which is I'm happy to extend the public access to the Dodge Farm for a whole variety of purposes. And I continue to do that in perpetuity. If we can come to some agreement on an alternative trail. If you can't come to an agreement on an alternative trail, then you can do whatever you are empowered to do on the right of way. And we'll lose the bet in this community and we will lose the opportunity to share the Dodge Farm. But that would be simply a policy choice at that point. But I don't, obviously I'm not pursuing this, so I think that's gonna be the outcome.
but we also technically could allow Todd on his bicycle tomorrow to ride through and still not maintain. And then the case still hasn't become right.
It's pretty hard to get through there now.
Well, that's okay, because like Peter said, if Todd came to some obstruction, a tree or something, he could pick his bike up and put it over the tree and just keep going.
Done it before.
Anyway, my point is that we could indeed just use the trail and not maintain it, but we've chosen to try to, I don't know if the proper word is pacify, but to do something to make you not pursue more things. And it hasn't worked.
Well, that. I just think it would be it would not be in the public's interest to try to open that trail. I mean, in this current situation, I do think it's in the public's interest to try to get this issue resolved as quickly as possible. I had mentioned earlier that if we can get the court to promptly resolve the ripeness issue and hopefully rule in our favor, we should be able to go to the court with all the briefing we've prepared before and say, Judge, Superior Court Judge, decide this case now. We're not gonna spend any more time or money briefing this issue because we've done it all. Decide it. Don't take 4 months. Please promptly decide it. You know, the good news is we've done all the thinking and writing we need to do on this issue. It really can be resolved without a whole lot of extra effort if we can just get past the ripeness hurdle.
Oh, we hope it'll come before April.
Right. The question for John and Jonathan, and Jonathan and John was, what I thought was curious about in that letter, talking about compensation, if we upgraded it to a highway. And that, according to a landowner, could be seen as, as a negative for the landowner, so they have this right to sue. I assume also it probably is true in the opposite direction too, in that if we change, say, your road sue for legal trails, you would have a right to sue the town of Tunbridge also, because we're changing the designation. And it does something to you as a landowner. You could say, I like the class 4 road.
Yeah, it should be
and
paying
now
the town.
It's a legal trail and
Right.
it's a different property. now.
That claim has failed in Vermont.
It's failed.
Yes, because you were deprived of no property rights when it's just reduced to a trail. That's what the Vermont Supreme Court has held.
But in the other direction, it's not.
It's the reverse. I mean, it's different, yes, because as we say, we have the right to repair and maintain the trail, and making it into a class 4 road would deprive us of that.
Well, you assert that you have that right.
No, I know.
You have to be
Well,
determined.
no, it's a claim.
Damn it, I can't, what anymore? Anyway, Jonathan, this was your part of the meeting. Do you have anything more to add or?
Feel like I gave an update.
Okay, yeah,
Any other direction?
not on this particular thing.
Would you sit around in an informal meeting and talk about options?
Related to,
An informal resolution of this whole conflict? Or maybe, I'm gonna call Peter up and see if I can have coffee with him.
it's a good start.
All right, so if you don't have anything more and no one else has any comments, we're gonna close this part of the meeting down. You can go home.
It's not even beyond.
I'm gonna stay for the rain here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Be with you just a second, Rachel.
Yes, they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Oh, this is either.
That's why I'm not. What about those things? Next one.
Are those no big cookie?
1972.
Yes.
Yeah.
Help.
I will. I'll be able to.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna move on to the Ranger. Unless anybody has an objection. Welcome, Rachel.
Hi, good night. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Cohen. This is my husband, Tyler Cohen, and we're the co-operators of the Ranger, the bike event that happens in early June out of the Tunbridge Fairgrounds. We're here tonight to seek approval to host our third event, our third year running the event. We're proposing to run essentially the same event that we have hosted for the last 2 years. Same courses, same roads, and virtually the same community events, supporting the overall Sunday main event throughout the weekend of June 7th and 8th. June 8th and 9th. We have already confirmed rental of the fairgrounds with Ingrid. We've been working with her on a year-to-year basis. And so the Tunbridge Fairgrounds has approved having us once again. We'll cap our event at 600 registrants. That's the same size that we had last year. We're really trying to be mindful of limiting the impact on the community, particularly the roads. So our event happens, at 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. So we do things like hire course marshals and professional flaggers on Route 110. We sign the route in Tunbridge the week or so before, and then increase our signage the weekend of the event. Last year we did an every door direct mailer to every home in Tunbridge. And we provide a lot of communications on Facebook, local listservs, vital communities, front porch forum, things like that in the several weeks leading up to the event so that folks are well aware of the increased bicycle traffic throughout that weekend. The other thing I wanted to just highlight is that the Ranger is really committed to making charitable contributions to the community. So we partner with the library and the school club, First Branch Rescue, Royalton Community Radio, the Trails Committee, and we also make donations to Stratford and Sharon food shelves because our routes also go through those communities. So we were able to donate $10,000 back to the community from our event this year. And then we also sold some spots early and raised some additional funds for flood relief this summer and donated an additional $6,000 to 3 or 4 different farms throughout Tunbridge to help mitigate some of the impact of the really horrible flooding that occurred. So that's what we're asking for tonight is your approval to allow us to run the event once again this summer. Again, the dates are June 8th and 9th.
Make a motion to let Rachel run her Ranger on June 8th and 9th in Tunbridge.
I second that.
All right, any more discussion?
I just had a question.
Jonathan?
Right.
So Rachel, I remember last year you had a good idea that you do a debrief sort of, and a, review of how the event went. So were there any problems that you saw after last year's event that you wanted to address, or did it run smoothly like most of us who weren't intimately involved? We thought it ran great.
Yeah, thanks for that question. I would say that we had one kind of traffic concern that we were really lucky to have Jonathan Bicknell as a course marshal this year and was able to really help with an intersection that became problematic. I believe, help me remember maybe Tyler what the 2 roads were, or Jonathan, you'd remember what the 2 roads were. That was really
The road it was to do. Some farmer was having silage.
Yeah, that was a farmer hit that day.
I think honestly, I think that was the biggest issue that we bumped into was just making sure that our cyclists were being respectful to farm equipment that was on the road and providing, adequate communication there. And I think that a lot of the measures that we have in place to get the word out do a good job at that. But those kinds of little hiccups are really what we're bumping into now. And I think it's just a communication issue and understanding that, we're needing to share the roads and some pretty narrow back roads on that day. That's one thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, we we introduced a lot more course marshals this past year, and we plan to do even more next year, based on that experience at that one intersection. Afterward, talking with Jonathan and Brenda as well, the both of you just pointed out to us that having a couple more marshals at some various intersections on that west side of town would be helpful.
Are the routes published?
The routes we publish them in the month or so leading up to the event. It's partly, I don't know, it helps with promotion to announce that we're promoting them ahead of like a week ahead of time. It also, we kind of go back and forth between putting them up all the time or just putting them up during the event. And we feel fairly strongly that, people come to ride this event, and those are the times that they are out on the roads in Tunbridge. And if we had the routes up all the time, all year round, we might actually be encouraging people to be out on those roads and potentially creating issues other days of the year, not on a day that we have course marshals and signage and that kind of stuff. So we do our best to communicate the routes as much as we possibly can in the month or so leading up to it. And we can make the routes available to select boards and other members who may want to know exactly what they are whenever, but we don't publish them on our site outside of the time period right around the event in June.
I was thinking in terms of people who might want to be prepared or otherwise be impacted by it.
Yeah, in the month or so leading up to the event, those routes are certainly available, and on our signage and on our Every Door direct mailer, we put our website and a QR code so that folks can go in, and we publish the routes directly to the Facebook page as well, so that anyone who's in the Tunbridge groups is able to see pretty clearly what roads will be in use.
I just comment about roads. Last year, I don't think there was a problem there, but I spoke with Tyler and Rachel about the down part of Larkin Road. And you can get going pretty fast, and you get to the final third and there's a big bend. And I believe you went out and put extra signage, go slow. This is getting to be one of the hairy spots. And so that was, within 48, 72 hours of making an additional effort. And then, of course, the efforts to make sure that this large event was not going to get confused and ride their bike on a legal trail that had been posted as not being a place to go. So I think those sort of protective measures were pretty thorough.
Yeah, if I may, so, yeah, I just wanted to give strong support to Tyler and Rachel in this event. It just, one way to get to know it is to be a rider or to volunteer. I'm not much of a rider for an event like this.
First time he's ever
You're a good
just
runner,
covered.
though.
Good, right? So great to volunteer as a marshal. I'll have to say their communication is fantastic. I saw all their social media posts. I got a mailer. I got to see how the event was run. And again, the marshals are key. I think one thing I want to say is more locals get involved, right? Especially as a marshal, because if you're a local on the road and they see you, it's a lot more friendly, right? But I just want to promote that, so. But yeah, really well done, you guys. I just want to applaud you.
I saw Jonathan on my side of the hill last year, first time he'd ever been over there.
Took a loss. I just turn around.
I gave him a string to follow.
All right, Mike made the motion, John seconded it. All in favor, say aye. Aye, you got it.
Have fun.
Wonderful.
Thank you
so
very much.
All right, good job.
You guys talk budget now.
Budget, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're.
We are.
We're gonna raise you guys as tax.
Yeah.
Oh, wait till they leave.
Hi, thank you. You're on the mark.
So. Okay, underlying case decided seems to be, that's how we get out of it fastest, right?
Yeah.
Could be, but he keeps talking compromise, and I know that thing's running, so you can probably see it anyway. But the compromise in the beginning would have been that he allowed small groups of bicycles to go through, whether they're walking beside their bikes or whatever, but it's turned into this.
Yeah.
And it's half our fault, because we didn't just plain had 20/20 hindsight and just done the right thing in the first place.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry we didn't, so,
Yeah. Hold on, unfortunately,
yeah,
it's come to this. Okay,
thank you.
Mark, I don't envy you. Thank you.
I am, yes.
You do. We wish it could be you.
More often.
Just to throw this in there, I checked with a couple towns around how we were set on wages for the town crew.
Yeah, good.
And we seem to be right kind of in the middle of who I checked with, so
Really?
we're higher than Brookfield and we're lower than Dop, and we're about the same rate, so.
Yeah.
So we're kind of right in there,
Right, so we're holding the ground then.
holding the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad. Okay, I don't know where you want to start, so.
I don't know, do you have any recommendations on where we start? Have you talked
I
about
have
people?
I have one thing to add to your budget meeting. Ryan Palmer, the Windsor County Sheriff,
Yeah.
emailed me, just wanted to know where we were at, and I said, we signed a contract for the remainder of this budget year with Royalton, because we only have like $4,000, and, he said that was great, glad we did that, but that if we were interested, he went up and talked to the Chelsea Select Board, they're interested in hiring Windsor County.
Yeah.
He would come in again and meet with you this budget season if you wanted, before you finalize your budget, if you were interested in still going with Windsor for next year, so.
Why don't you invite him to come talk to us again?
Next meeting.
Yeah, we put an article in the newspaper about him and his department.
Yeah.
Just sounds like he's really going
Yeah,
big guns.
he's
Vulnerable.
pretty aggressive or good businessman or something.
Something. Yeah, I had to keep wondering, where's all the money come from for all these different things he's doing? Obviously, he got it.
About what, maybe like, sort of, child plan, like, I get 4 towns to commit
Well,
20,000 or
even
something.
if Chelsea's doing it,
Right, get closer.
if we can get in
Yeah.
on that,
Yeah,
I don't know what they're planning to spend or anything.
I don't know, I can reach out to Chelsea as well. Thank you.
Certainly been
Well,
it's been a big topic,
if
but.
Palmer comes in, then he'll tell them, you know. I'm
This
assuming.
is good cheese, where's this from?
National Farmers Organization,
Happy holidays,
better than I thought it would be.
really?
Yeah. I thought it'd be really mild.
Was Tom competitive?
It probably is. They covered up the label.
Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to be creative here.
It's probably North Korean cheese. That is pretty good.
It's warm too, you're supposed to always serve cheap warm.
Really? I don't really like warm cheese in the morning. That's pretty good. Oh, no, thank
Yeah,
you.
right, yeah, very tough, yeah, but it's like beer, right? It's an England, and I'm never-
Just real dumb. That's all I have for budgeting. I am requesting permission to buy this scanner. I got our land records up and running. I've been scanning in our land records as we've been doing them. But the scanner that we have on the printer, the way that those sheets are laid out, we can't scan it the correct orientation. So this scanner is one that was suggested by Nemrick. I have a lot of money left in my ARPA budget since I did this one and not the other one. which was $320, but it would sit right behind me on my desk and it would scan the correct orientation and then I would do like a book in a day versus getting up and going to the other one.
You have it all done, oh,
That's right.
you're back.
It's too excited to leave.
No,
Left no back.
oh, if that's okay with you, I'd like to get that.
It is.
Do we have to approve that? Or you can-
You can stay around if you want.
No, they see the.
I don't know.
We're trying to rush it
More
out.
relaxed, you know, walking jeeps coming out.
I mean, that's up to you if you wanna make a motion and approve it. If not, it's within my.
I make a motion that we let, go ahead,
Thank you.
Yeah, scanner or?
A scanner.
scan it, whatever it is,
Yes, and
electronic device.
Thank you.
I second.
like,
I,
We had a few more. Well, I don't know,
you got them back in pretty good.
if you would do this or Becky or. Or Mary Ann, but I was thinking. A great statistic for us to have, I mean, to go back, say, 3 or 4 years. And look at the. What we spent on these extreme weather events.
oh, yeah.
And see if it's increasing.
Or just see like what, we don't really budget, you know, we
Yeah.
don't think, oh, we're gonna get a flood, you know. And it'll be just interesting if like there's a $250,000 sort of year after year.
Yeah.
That whether, even if FEMA pays us back, it's just like,
Yeah, because
this is the
we-
new reality that
we-
every year we got
we-
500,000 in damage.
we plan,
Or
we're gonna fix some road,
Yeah,
and then we get a flood, and that's the end of that,
right,
because we gotta do all of work on the flood.
right.
And if nothing else, it's just neat to know the statistics, it's just neat to know what cost.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the gravel we bought last spring,
Yeah,
you know,
oh, you're getting off track, but did Rodney say anything about, he usually puts up a file for next spring for mud season, have you done anything? about
yes,
that?
I think he does, and he also said that. You know, last meeting, he told us the state took some of his stones.
Yeah,
oh, right.
They replaced them. Plus they had a couple files of other stuff there, and they just left it.
Yeah.
They told Rodney,
so it's okay.
Rodney satisfied with the
yeah,
exchange?
yeah, he said he doesn't think they brought us back quite as many stones as they took. But they left out other stuff,
Right.
so he said it more made up for it.
Larger economy.
Compared to my S and Ps.
No, I'm good.
Looking a little,
No,
yeah, looking a little peasy over there.
no, I'm good. Thank you though. Do you want me to end this Zoom thing?
Yeah, we're just gonna budget a little bit and then it's kind of the order and
Okay.
boring stuff, we haven't got any guests.